A crew from the History Channel recently found pieces of NASA's Space Shuttle Challenger while searching for a crashed World War II plane in the ocean. One of the largest pieces of NASA's Space Shuttle Challenger has been discovered on the ocean floor by a documentary crew searching for a crashed World War II plane. A large section of the wrecked Space Shuttle Challenger was buried in the sand at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. Now, a large section of the wrecked Space Shuttle Challenger has been found on the sand at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean, more than 3 decades after the disaster that killed a school teacher and 6 others. NASA's Kennedy Space Center announced the discovery Thursday.
There's so many of these white things that are coming off of here. It looks like they're deteriorating. Yeah, they're wearing away. Sitting on top of the orange tile. They're kind of loose now. Probably why there's only a couple of them. The rest of them wore away.
Video taken at the scene shows what appears to be some of Challenger's 1/2 square thermal protection tiles on the sea, partially covered by sand. The area is reportedly about 0.8 feet square and may be from the underside of the spacecraft. After the discovery, NASA Administrator Bill Nelson said, "As it has been nearly 60 years since the 7 brave and courageous astronauts died on the Challenger, this tragedy will forever be etched in our nation's collective memory."
Look at these rivets. They're like smooth. This part's probably been exposed for the longest time. So much more of this goes onto the sand here. So what do you think this is, Jim?
The Space Shuttle Challenger disaster, which occurred on January 28, 1986, is one of the most infamous incidents in U.S. space history. It has never been forgotten and has had a profound impact on space programs and launch safety. I'm Pendar Akbari, and in this video, we'll examine the launch, the accident, and the factors that contributed to the shuttle's explosion. We'll also look at the role of the crew, especially a teacher named Krista McAuliffe, and the aftermath of the disaster. The incident not only affected the space community, but also national sentiment in the United States and around the world. At 11:38 a.m. on Tuesday, January 28, 1986, the Space Shuttle Challenger was launched from the Kennedy Space Center in Cape Canaveral, Florida. The historic event is considered a milestone in the United States space program. While millions of people around the world, including students and space enthusiasts, watched the event, Challenger ascended into the sky. But the graceful ascent lasted only 73 seconds, and the shuttle suddenly exploded in the sky. The accident occurred in conditions of extremely low temperatures on the day of launch. The temperature of 0 degrees Celsius was the coldest recorded for any shuttle launch, which raised concerns about the safety of the launch. Despite these concerns, NASA officials were under pressure to complete the launch, as previous delays due to weather conditions and technical problems had severely affected the schedule. Challenger was the fourth NASA space shuttle to launch, and one of its most important missions was Project Teacher in Space. The mission, which also carried a teacher named Krista McAuliffe as a civilian passenger, was intended to bring more attention to the space program and represent an effort to integrate science and education at the public level.
3 floors to the main level, where they will exit the O&C building, traditionally met by the members of the media who are standing by, waiting to document. And this is the work crew here that has been very active in preparing the 51L mission.
The Challenger Space Shuttle pilot team consisted of 7 people, each with their own unique skills and experiences. They launched into space on January 28, 1986 on a historic and challenging mission. The names of the team members are as follows: Krista McAuliffe, teacher. As the first teacher to go into space, Krista McAuliffe represented the hopes and aspirations of education in the United States. Dick Scobie, commander. He was responsible for the overall management of the flight and safety of the team and had extensive experience in spaceflight. Mike Smith, pilot. Mike Smith, with his extensive flight experience, played a key role in guiding the shuttle. Ron Kner, mission specialist, one of the experienced astronauts who participated in various missions. Judy Resnick, mission specialist. Judy is known as the first Jewish American woman in space and had extensive experience in spaceflight. Alison Onyuka, mission specialist. She was the first Asian American to travel to space and made many scientific efforts. Gregory Jarvis, payload specialist. She was responsible for transporting scientific payloads and instruments during the mission. The Challenger pilot team embarked on this journey with a combination of expertise and experience, especially in the scientific and educational fields, hoping to promote science and technology in society. Children from the United States, especially school children, were deeply moved by the mission because they imagined that one of their own would go to space. The event was not only the life story of each team member, but also an inspiration for future generations.
Attempt a second try at launch today.
One launch day, as the 7 pilots prepared for space, NASA officials were still assessing the weather and technical conditions for the mission. In the hours leading up to launch, temperatures had plummeted to near freezing. Such temperatures could have had a devastating effect on the shuttle's mechanical performance, particularly the O-rings in the solid boosters. However, the pressure of multiple launch delays and the prospect of a mission that had garnered significant media and public attention pushed decision-makers to proceed with the launch. Some engineers and experts had expressed concerns about the effects of temperature on the O-rings, and some even recommended that the launch be postponed. But the launch officials decided to go ahead anyway, hoping that everything would go according to plan. Perhaps the failure to heed warnings about weather and technical issues could provide an important lesson for future space launch safety. Ultimately, the Challenger explosion, just after 6 seconds after launch, not only served as a reminder of the dangers of space travel, but also of the importance of emphasizing safety and considering technical considerations in key decisions. The event will remain in the minds of many, serving as a reminder of the limitations and challenges facing space programs. The Space Shuttle Challenger was not just a mission to travel into space, but also a unique opportunity to bring science and education into people's everyday lives. One of the outstanding members of the pilot team, Krista McAuliffe, was a teacher who was selected from his applicants to represent education in space. She was selected as part of the Teacher in Space project, which was launched in 1984 to generate public interest and attention for the United States space program. As the first teacher to travel into space, Krista McAuliffe became a symbol of hope and inspiration for students and teachers across the country. She sought to make a strong connection between space science and classroom education, providing students with a unique experience through live television broadcast. Her goal was to show that space is not just for scientists and astronauts, and that anyone can achieve their dreams. Although Krista's mission ended tragically, her legacy lives on in classrooms and in the hearts of students. She was known during her lifetime as a strong and independent woman who showed the society that teachers can spark change in everyday life. Her work was not limited to space, but emphasized the importance of education and inspiring new generations. The tragic event of the Challenger shuttle was a reminder of the need for safety in space operations, but it was also a turning point in education. Kristin Khalitha's memory as a teacher and astronaut will continue to inspire many people in future space education programs. At that moment, pilot Mike Smith said, "Oh, no." And in less than a second, the shuttle Challenger exploded in the sky. The explosion was so massive and astonishing that it not only destroyed the plane, but also shocked everyone in the audience and the specialists in the Flight Control Center. Millions of people across the United States, including students and families, witnessed the tragic event, and it went down in history as one of the most painful and heartbreaking moments in the nation's history. The Challenger explosion was the result of a combination of technical factors and environmental conditions. Subsequent investigation revealed that one of the main causes of the explosion was a defect in the O-rings in the solid boosters, which had lost their elasticity due to the extreme cold. This technical defect allowed a fire to leak from the booster into the shuttle's fuel tank, resulting in an explosion and complete destruction of the shuttle. The accident not only claimed the lives of 7 astronauts, but also seriously affected NASA's philosophy and approach to launch safety. The Challenger disaster became a turning point for the United States space program and taught important lessons for future space missions. The human and emotional dimensions of the accident will not be forgotten, and serve as a reminder of the potential dangers of space travel and the challenges it poses.
From any recovery forces in the downrange field.
After the Space Shuttle Challenger disaster and its horrific explosion just was 6 seconds after launch, a search and rescue operation was launched immediately. The operation was quickly organized to find survivors and the remains of the shuttle in the Atlantic Ocean. Search planes and ships were dispatched to the scene of the accident to gain more information by examining the surface of the water and searching for fallen parts. Although some parts of the shuttle were found on the surface, no survivors were found. In fact, most of the shuttle had sunk to the depths of the ocean, and no trace of oxygen or human remains was found. This fact was extremely heartbreaking and brought a tragic end to a hopeless mission. 1 January 1986, just 3 days after the accident, a memorial service was held for the 7 astronauts who died. The ceremony was held not only to remember the lives lost, but also to honor their lives as heroes who believed in humanity's desire to explore space. Survivors, friends, and family gathered to remember them and honor their sacrifice. After the accident, an investigation was conducted to determine the true causes of the explosion and the factors that led to the disaster. The investigation was entrusted to an institution called the Rogers Commission, which was tasked with carefully examining all aspects of the accident. The results of the investigation led to fundamental changes in NASA's safety policies and procedures, and gradually brought about improvements in the United States space program. Ultimately, the search and rescue operation itself demonstrated the commitment and solidarity of the space community, and many valuable lessons were learned from the experience that still have a profound impact on the space industry and future exploration. After the Space Shuttle Challenger disaster, many questions arose about the causes of this tragic event in society and the United States space program. President Ronald Reagan quickly formed a commission called the Rogers Commission to investigate the incident. The commission, consisting of experts and famous astronauts, including Sully Riley and Neil Armstrong, investigated and analyzed the factors that contributed to the explosion. The commission's investigation indicated that the main cause of the explosion was a defect in the O-rings in the shuttle's solid boosters. These rings were responsible for insulating and preventing fire and gas leaks during launch. The extremely low temperatures on launch day, which reached 0 degrees Celsius, caused these O-rings to lose their elasticity, resulting in gas leaks and fires from the booster to the fuel tank. In addition to this technical defect, moral and social pressures were also important factors in the decision to launch. NASA managers were under pressure from the media and public to carry out the mission as planned, and this led to the disregard of warnings from engineers and experts about the safety of the launch. These poor decisions and disregard for existing warnings ultimately led to the explosion. The Rogers Commission also concluded that there was a need for improvements in NASA's safety procedures, communications, and decision-making processes. The disaster has been recorded as a lesson in the history of astronautics and has led to fundamental changes in safety approaches and project management in the space program to ensure that such an accident will not happen again. Overall, the Challenger disaster remains not only a turning point in space history, but also a reminder of the importance of safety and responsibility at every stage of space travel. The incident inspired future generations to think about science, safety, and humanity. After the horrific explosion of the Space Shuttle Challenger, one of the most important parts of the search and investigation was finding the cockpit. The place where 7 brave astronauts were located and who sacrificed their lives in a historic mission for space exploration. The cockpit housed a complex array of technologies and advanced systems, and the protection of the crew was the first priority in its design. On March 1986, just over 5 weeks after the explosion, the search team managed to find the cockpit. Miraculously, the cockpit had not been destroyed in the explosion, and evidence of the people inside remained. The bodies of all 7 astronauts were still strapped into their seats, indicating that they had enjoyed the safety of the cabin at the time of the explosion. After careful examinations, forensic measures were also carried out, but the exact cause of the astronauts' deaths remained suspicious. Some researchers believed that some crew members may have survived the cabin before the final impact with the water, as 3 of the 4 emergency air packs had been found and used. This suggests that the astronauts may have attempted to save themselves in the initial moments of the explosion and fall. The cockpit, which fell into the ocean, was also a tool for better understanding the details of the disaster and the factors that contribute to it. The cabin, designed as part of the shuttle, to provide valuable lessons for improving safety on future missions. The survivors of the accident will remain not only a memorial to those who sacrificed their life for space exploration, but also a reminder of the complexities and dangers of space travel, as a festival of will and effort in human evolution.
4, 3, 2, 1, and liftoff. Liftoff of the 25th Space Shuttle mission, and it has cleared the tower.
Now control.
Roger, roll, Challenger.
Good roll program confirmed. Challenger now heading downrange. Engines beginning throttling down now at 94%. Normal throttles for most of the flight, 104%. We'll throttle down to 65% shortly. Engines at 65%, 3 engines running normally, 3 good fuel cells, 3 good APUs. Velocity 2,257 feet per second. Altitude 4.3 nautical miles, downrange distance 3 nautical miles. Engines throttling up, 3 engines now at 104%.
Challenger, go at throttle up. Challenger, go at throttle up.
1 minute 15 seconds. Velocity 2,900 feet per second. Altitude 9 nautical miles, downrange distance 7 nautical miles. Flight controllers here looking very carefully at the situation. Obviously a major malfunction. We have no downlink. Have a report from the flight dynamics officer that the vehicle has exploded. Flight director confirms that. We are looking at checking with the recovery forces to see what can be done at this point.